Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here this Friday morning. Got a great show lined up, and we'll get started with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. Now remember, today's the last day of registration, so run by and check them out at the corner of Baldwin Road and Highway 77. If you want to call it, 767-5500. Good folks there, and they'll certainly help you out. Now the weather today is going to be pretty mild. It's going to be a high of 71 and a low of 51. So you got a little 20-degree spread right there. Should be a nice day. We got a warming trend coming in. We're looking at a good weekend of really nice outdoor weather. Now, the water temperature remains at 69 degrees, so keep that in mind. It hadn't moved much. I'll take a look at our river readings. Apalachicola is again flat line right at 0.4. I've never seen it this steady for this long of a period of time. Now, the Choctawhatchee, it did move up a little bit. It went up to a 2.7. Had a little bit of bump right there, but now it's going to start going down by Saturday morning. But it'll be a really slight drop. Not a lot going on there. Now this is the last day of November. Can y'all believe December starts tomorrow? It's amazing, and Christmas is right around the corner. So I hope y'all have already started your Christmas shopping. Don't forget now, you get some of the Panhandle Outdoors caps and shirts and all online, and some folks are already doing that. So don't forget to do that. Now, take a look at our tides for today. We're looking at the 30th of November, good strong tide. The low tide is this morning at 7:56, and the high tide is tonight at 9:27. Really good fishing. I personally like to really fish an incoming tide, and today is an excellent time to do it. Be the same way tomorrow. Good strong tides. We're looking at right at about 1.8 to 2 foot range according to wherever you are. So a good strong tide. And it's always variable according to the wind too, which way the wind blowing. Sometimes the north wind won't let it get in quite as far as it normally would. So, but it looks like the wind's going to be dying down and maybe move a little bit more to the other direction. All right. I just got a phone right before the show started. Friday, I always like to call down to Seaquarter and talk to Millard. Millard had a really good fishing report that was coming up later on in the show, but they really catch some nice fish down at Seaquarters Marina down in Carabel, one of our big sponsors on the eastern end of our viewing area. Let's take this break, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We've got a lot to do today, so let's first start off with this, something to do tomorrow if you don't have anything planned. Over at the Biofeeder Center, they're having a good little program with tracks, skulls, and furs, and who do they belong to. They're going to team up with FWC, and you can bring the kids out there and all and help you familiarize yourself on tracking and different skulls, different kind of furs, and always a lot of fun. It's a hands-on experience, and it's a good, good for all ages. So that's tomorrow at 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock at the Biofeeder Center. And there is a minimum charge for that, which is good because it helps keep that place going. That's a huge area, and they have a lot of things to do out there, a lot of expenses. So always good to do that. Now let's catch up with the emails we had sent to us. We didn't get to cover all of them. Ken Paramore was here the other day, Captain Ken Paramore with FWC. We just didn't get to cover all of them, so I want to go ahead and finish others we didn't get to do. Hello, Mr. Chester. My name is Leonard Dean. I live in Ebro and watch your show in the morning at 5:30. Please enter my name in your drawing, which we did. If you would, please ask the FWC officer, Mr. Ken, about the 25 limited crappie rule. Is it per boat or per person? I love that show this morning with your granddaughter deer hunting. Thank you for your services, Leonard Dean. Thank you, Leonard, for that compliment, and send it to Ken, and it is per person. So, if you have 3 people on there, you have 75 speckled perch, or crappie as some people call them, but that takes care of that question. Thank you for sending that. Thank you for watching the show over there in Ebro. Now, the second question, this comes from Bill Barfield. He said, Winston, I had another scary encounter with a very large bear on Sunday. This happened in the past 2 years where the bear comes to my tree in which I'm sitting, and the bear can smell me, and he starts to whoof and stand up on the tree. That's not a good feeling when your toes on 18 feet from the ground. I yell at him, I shine a light, I clap, and he does nothing. He finally went off about 5 yards and sat down for another 10 minutes. Mind you now, it's dark and it was time to get down. Further hollering and clapping clapping up and down and shucking up and down on the climber only caused him to go off another 15 yards and still sit down in the palmettos. I don't know if there's a little trick of theirs, but this is happening again for the second time. I only have a 20 gauge slugger, and that makes it more scary. If I get charged, I have no choice but to pop one off and run. Please ask Captain Paramore what's the best thing to do when treed. Okay, so then Ken wrote back, it's a trick. This is from Ken now. He said, it's a trick of theirs. They're wanting you to go away, and it's mostly a bluff, even though it's probably sure is scary. He is doing all the right things, talking about our hunter, Barfield. He's doing all the right things. You make a lot of noise and try to retreat. And also, there's a spray repellent sold down there. C&G has a spray repellent. You might want to try that out. They will bluff and not like they're going to charge, especially if they have cubs. But self-defense is the final option. However, facts would need to support that it was self-defense. It's a tough situation. One does not have the right. One does have the right. Always has the right for self-protection. But I would make sure you've exhausted all other options. You'd also shoot over the bear as a last resort, and a lot of times the loud blanks will get them scared off. Captain Ken Paramore. So you see, everybody's having some. Not everybody. A lot of people having encounters and all, and that's the situation right there legally. And what to do, best thing to do is just make a lot of noise, and if you have some extra shells, shoot up in the air, and I'll try to scare them off. Especially if you time to go home, I'll be wanting to get out of there too. So thank y'all for those questions, and I hope that answered it. So let's take our break now, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Getting ready to set up a video now. We did this past weekend, but first let's look at our fishing games forecast. Let's make sure we get that taken care of right now. Today's time, we're looking at 12:50 to 2:50 this morning. It's after midnight now, but today, right after lunch, 1:15 to 3:15. 1:15 to 3:15, that 2-hour block right after lunch, which is an excellent time to go. Tell you what, let's go ahead also and get our Tarpon Rock Seafood draw again. Make sure we get that. We may run out of time, by the time we show the video, and then we're going to come back and do our famous Friday fishing forecast. So, it's Tarpon Rock in the first winter. We're going to try to get one. The first one will be one for $25 gift certificate, okay? And the winner on that is Adam Scott from Youngstown, $25. All right. And the second one's going to be a big old juicy red snapper. All right. And stir them up really good. And remember, we'll start again 2013. Don't send them in yet. We'll do that a little bit after Christmas. Okay. Let's peel this one out. And Cindy Figueroa from Carabel. One of our viewers down in Carabel won a big old red snapper, Cindy. So next time you're up in this area, give me a call and we'll arrange it so you can pick up that red snapper. All right? Got a winner there in Youngstown and one in Carabel. Now, a lot of times, we love to go fishing out in boats and go all kinds of different places, but every now and then I just have the urge to just, fish from the shore and all. And this past weekend, we were down at the Cape for a couple of days, and Gail and I just drove down to Indian Pass on Saturday, and right after lunch, and we didn't stay there long at all, but I want to show you how convenient it is, and I want to show you how you can do this too. We're right there at the boat ramp, and you see how we have it set up, and had a good little catch. So let's watch this video here. Let's roll it, Jeff. Okay, it's one of those lazy Saturdays. We got. Whoa! I got a fish. Listen, I'm down at the Cape. We got a strong north wind, so I couldn't surf fish. So I came down to one of my favorite places, right at Indian Pass. Look there. We got a little shark. Look at that little shark. I've caught. Okay. People go shark fishing. All right. Long way, buddy. Eventually figure it out. There he goes. Another whiting. That's about the third or fourth one we caught. But they sure are swallowing it. Every one of them was swallowing it. I got another one. They're in this one little hole, folks. Only problem, I just bought a little bit of shrimp. We're gonna run out. It's fun catching this lightweight rod. Look at that. Oh man. Yeah, he bit it right. He bit it right there. Another one. I put on my waders. Whoa. That's a good release. Okay, I put on my waders. We're gonna run out of bait, so I'm gonna try to go find some bait. But they're biting pretty steady here. You can see where we are. You see where we are. St. Vincent Island, right across there. And then to our west is the boat ramp right there. Some kayakers just coming in. And then over the other side of the boat ramp with some other fishermen. But now we got a really strong north wind, about 15. And it's calm on this side. Actually, I call this poor man's fishing. It don't take much to do it. That's where I grew up fishing on shore like this. Another one. They hook themselves better. See the bottom lip right there. Let me show you the rig. The rig, we got all I have, a little egg weight here. Got about a 14-inch leader. And this little circle hook there. And they're hooking themselves really good. Now this, what I'm doing, I'm just getting a little bit of shrimp. And I like to peel the shrimp. I always talk about peeling the shrimp. I'm trying to stretch it as far as I can, and what I'm doing, I'm just cutting it in half. And then getting 2 pieces of shrimp. And the way I like to put it on my hook, I just like to go down the length of it. Okay, and let the barb sort of stick out like that. That's how I like to bait my hook. And we've got a couple rods out, and we've just been. I'll show you where we're fishing now. There's the St. Vincent house right over there, the boathouse. I'm going straight toward it. About right there. That's probably about 3 feet of water right there, 3 to 4 feet of water. So we got the tide going out. Tide's been going out about an hour now. And you see with the moon, we've got a moon coming up. The moon's been waxing. Beautiful day on the bay. You ain't scared. We got enough for supper here. We got 7. We fished maybe an hour. It's been fun fishing for whiting right here at the Indian Pass, right here at the boat ramp. And you can see these are pretty healthy fish. Most of them still alive. They're strong fish. One of the great things about right here, you can park and load and unload your stuff. We're talking about 15, 20 feet from where you're fishing. This is too easy. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that. That's just a simple way of fishing. It's so convenient, and you don't take a lot of time. And we just caught some nice fish. Matter of fact, this is what's funny. We're going to eat those fish for supper. And after we caught them, we looked at them and said, we want to go watch a ball game and all that. So I think I had 7, and 4 of them were still alive. So after I showed them on air, I decided to let those 4 go. And then the other 3 I took down to, there were some people fishing on the other side of the boat ramp there, so I let them, they were from Georgia, Carrollton, Georgia, so I let them have those. I had planned on eating them though, so after we thought about that, we just didn't have time. It was just the 2 of us, so when I cook fish, I like to cook for a group of people, and a lot of times it's hard just to cook for 2. So anyway, that's what happened to it, but go down there on the outgoing tide and you see exactly how we did it, real simple. Now let's get started with the famous Friday fishing report brought to us by Tarpon Dock Seafood. And, if any fresh seafood needs, run down to Tarpon Dock. They're just constantly getting fresh seafood in there. And they're really good about, keeping our fresh stuff in there, and really good about helping us sponsor Panhandle Outdoors. Now, let's start down in Caribou. I just got off the phone before the show started with Millard to talk to him, and they're really catching some fish down there, really biting over Thanksgiving holidays. He went out. I made a list of what they call snapper, gag grouper, sea bass, kings, and black snapper. He said there's a lot of gag grouper all over the place. Of course, they had to talk about the gag grouper and some big red snapper. But he said in the bay, now this might be interesting in the bay, he said really over here in the bay, they were, let's see, Jeff, will we lose it again? Okay, I think we got it now. Right here in the bay, you put in the sea quarters right out here, and just as you go out the bay, right between here and Dog Island, okay, you got some flats up in here. He said they're really catching up here in the mouth of the river some really nice trout and some really nice redfish right up in this area right in here. So if you get a chance, go down to Caribou. And I want to move it over to Apalachicola Bay. And we also had a chance to go fishing in Apalachicola Bay during Thanksgiving holidays. And Bill Allen and I went down there and fished, of course, the flats, the Little St. Marks and all. And really, in my fishing report, you're going to this area right in here, you put in, and we're going to give you more detail later. This is a different map system, but you see all these feeder creeks. We fished the Little St. Mark, went through Bob Jones Cut. Also ran into Joe Lee there, but we really, they haven't really started moving up in there yet. Any time now, those tribes are going to start moving up in those feeder creeks, but hadn't quite started moving in there yet. Then we moved on down. I got a report. They were really catching some reds over there between St. Vincent Island, and we talk about this almost every week, between St. Vincent Island. The reds were tearing it up on those oyster bars right here behind St. Vincent. You can see this area right here. There's some really nice oyster bars right up in here. This is Indian Pass. Let me move it over to Indian Pass. This is exactly where we fished. I'm going to even maybe zoom in on it for you. Okay. Right at the boat ramp right here. And you see all this water pours out in here. So it just makes sense that a lot of the fish are going to be coming through here and all. But there's some oyster bars right back up in here. On the backside of St. Vincent Island. But now you listen, if you're going to fish St. Vincent in that area right in there, you really got to know the area. There are a lot of oyster bars there. You're going to really mess up your boat and your prop if you don't know where you're going. So you really want to take it easy. Don't just go there and jump in there the first time and take off. You really need to move around slowly and check your bottom machine and all. Now let's go over to East Bay. Got some great reports from East Bay this week on the redfish moving this way. Let's see. Okay, I just talk about, we all know where that is. Redfish on both sides of East Bay, over on the Tyndall side and back over toward the Callaway side. A couple of schools there. Some really nice catches they're having in there. Also on the northern end of East Bay, like I say, they're catching them on some swim baits, and also, of course, some people are using all different types of bait, but the Gulf swim bait's been doing real good, and also the DOA's been doing real good. Now, let's move over here to North Bay. North Bay, I got tickled talking to a couple of different fishermen. They told me the same story. There are 2 schools of redfish up there around West Bay Point and up around the power lines, and you know where the power lines are. And the power lines but they can't get them to bite. They've been real finicky, and you know the redfish will go through these periods of time where they just flat sure don't want to eat. They don't get hungry. They don't want to eat, but they have they haven't had any luck catching them. But they've seen them. They've seen them trailing in there, and they're moving around. They're going by this weekend and try it out. But anyway, there are 2 nice schools of redfish over in West Bay and around those power lines. They might move around by tomorrow. They might move around, but they're in there. Now let's move over there towards Choctawhatchee Bay. I got a good report from Black Creek Lodge. Black Creek goes into Choctawhatchee Bay, and it's just an excellent place to go fishing. But they really caught some nice redfish up the river, or you go down the river in those little flat areas. They really caught some nice redfish over there this past week. What happened during Thanksgiving holidays, a lot of people had a chance to get out and do a lot of fishing, so we got a lot of reports and a lot of successful reports. Some folks even went up in the steam plant canal. Now remember, you can't keep your fish going up the steam plant canal, but they went up there and caught some nice fish there too. So it's been a really, really good week of fishing. So this weekend, now what do you want to plan on doing? The weather's going to be nice. Go ahead and get your bait if you're going to fish live shrimp or something. And go ahead and pick your place out and get up there early, and the weather's going to be nice, and be careful and all. Make sure you know where you're going, and make sure you have your life jacket and everything. But redfish have been really good this week, and the speckled trout, like Miller said, they've really caught some nice trout down there. They're still in the staging area. They're not up in the creeks yet. I've talked to several different people, and everybody's agreeing they're still in that staging area in about 4 to 6 foot of water, getting ready to get up in the creek when we have some more cold weather. Got to wrap it up for the week. Had a great week on Panhandle Outdoors. Appreciate you watching the show. Appreciate you supporting the sponsors. You have a great weekend and do something good for somebody today. God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.